It's 4:30 in the afternoon. It's Move TV. We have a special for you this afternoon. This was meant to go out yesterday, but there were technical issues. And sometimes people's broadband doesn't work. We have guests where they find themselves in the middle of nowhere with broadband that just doesn't want to give them any power. So earlier today, I caught up with Sean Liddell, and this is Move TV with Sean Liddell. Do enjoy this. Hello, everybody. It's Graham Coath with another Move TV. And today I'm being joined by Sean. Hello, Sean. Where are you coming from, sir?
Today I am in Hawick in Scotland. So just on the borders.
Tremendous. Yeah. Don't take this the wrong way, but you seem to get about a bit.
Yes. Yeah. I take it in entirely the way that hopefully it's intended. And yes, indeed. Yeah, it's 2 degrees. It's raining, but it's a gorgeous day. And yeah, all over the place. Yeah, face-to-face sort of training has come back with a vengeance. And I'm in London, Canterbury, Scotland, Wales all the time now. Yeah, enjoying it.
Are you enjoying that after the pandemic, when presumably you were confined to Zoom type training for a long while?
Absolutely, yeah. A couple of years, and it was. It does take. It's like anything, I guess. It's a balance in everything that we do. So hopefully things will bottom out so that we balance between the virtual and the face-to-face. And I think some courses are much better done live. Some are okay done live or virtual, and some are actually better virtual. And the realities and the advantages of virtual communication, training, hybrid working, we all know them. We've all experienced them now. But yeah, the face-to-face thing is it's really great to be in a room with people. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we should just explain what it is that you actually do. So people can see the letters behind your name there, MHFA. But just tell us what that stands for and a little bit about what it is that you do.
Cool. Okay. So MHFA stands for Mental Health First Aid. It's a global standard, started in Australia, came over to Great Britain in 2007. It's the only UK government recognised qualification, the MHFA qualification, for creating mental health first aiders in the workplace. So that's the work that we do. We train people to become accredited. We also train companies, employees and teams in mental health awareness to help have conversations about our mental health, which is what we don't usually do, especially, unfortunately, if we are men, which a lot of us are. And then I specialise as well in suicide prevention and awareness. So a lot of work in that. And it's the background stuff of the resilience, the emotional intelligence and mindfulness that really backs up everything that I do.
Oh, there you go. Now, tell me, a long time ago when I did mine, there was also a mental health first aid light. Does that still exist, or is it?
Yeah. So the company I'm working with at the minute, Marlin Industries, based in Wrexham, but they've got production facilities in Hawick, which is why I'm here, in the valleys in Wales, and in Southampton. So yeah, what we're doing with them, for example, is doing the light. So we're doing the awareness for all the employees so that everybody has a better understanding of what mental health is, equalize it with physical health so that when we talk about physical, we can talk about mental as well. Look after our mental well-being, which is probably the most important thing here. And then that'll get it ready for the next phase, which is to get those mental health first aiders in, who will then be utilised to do the same thing that physical first aiders would do, but from the mental health perspective. So that's the light. It's the awareness. It's a half-day session. It's lots of fun. Just had a real laugh this morning with my first group, and I've got another group this afternoon where you get some people just having such a good laugh. And it's right to deal with such intense subjects sometimes, because we talk about suicide. And it is right to deal with certain things with humour wherever we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, a lot of businesses may have said over the years that we don't need to do this because we've got an employee assistance program, we've got an EAP in place. There's a telephone line there. If somebody needs to phone it, they can phone it, etc. But why do businesses need to do this?
It's a great question. If you look at the stats behind EAPs, employee assistance programs, then the body, the EAP body themselves say that the latest stat that I looked at was 13% of employees access counselling through employee assistance programs, which just isn't good enough. And the main reasons are that employees still don't believe that it's confidential, or that the company won't get to hear or will get to hear about what it is that they're having counselling for. So it's really important that, for example, EAPs, some employees don't even know what they are, what they do, what services are available. So with mental health first aid, what we do is we look at the local resources within the company and also all around the company, not just the GP, but what other local resources and charities could be helpful for them. And we provide a great bridge to signpost people to the EAP and to the local resources and charities, not just the doctors. We don't want to create a queue there because that's busy enough at the moment, obviously. So the mental health first aider, the awareness is to provide the training for people to have the conversations and to actually go to somebody to say, I need help and support. And the first aider will then spot and signpost to a relevant professional help, which could include the employee assistance program.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as someone that was a workplace needs assessor for years, I've been campaigning tirelessly for years as well to try and make mental health part of the agenda with DSE. Because for me, the amount of times I went to see somebody because of some kind of physical manifestation in the workplace, they had some kind of musculoskeletal disorder or headaches, backache or whatever. But then in talking to them, you realize that there was something else going on there that probably meant that was being manifested in these physical conditions.
Absolutely.
And actually, if you look at how a lot of companies deal with it, there's nothing on the form. How far away is your computer screen from you? Is there light reflecting off your keyboard? Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping on the streets at night, and I'm pretty anxious about life at the moment.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this is the thing. This is part of what MHFA England do, is to lobby the government and promote awareness, not just through training, but obviously from a governmental perspective, to do exactly that, to get the physical and the mental on equal footing. Because at the moment, we have to have physical first aiders in the workplace, but we don't have to have mental health first aiders. So the companies that I deal with really are ahead of that curve, because at the end of the day, it's going to help people just like physical first aid does. It's going to keep people in work longer. It's going to keep them safe from more symptoms of stress, anxiety, and depression. So it's going to reduce the sick days, and it's just going to help in such a holistic way for the company. So why wouldn't you do it? And then from a personal perspective, I've got all this mechanical stuff that I can get that thing for my feet, but actually, what about my relationship that's breaking down, or my physical diagnoses that's really affected me? Or COVID, I may have lost somebody during COVID, and that's really affected me, and I haven't dealt with my bereavement, and nobody, and I don't want to talk to anybody, I can't talk to, I don't know where to go. So, but that just gets left alone, and that's something that the mental health first aid will absolutely help us to do, to get that help, to get that support. Best thing in life is to get a diagnosis. If you get a diagnosis, you get a treatment plan. With a treatment plan comes recovery. I'm a walking, talking example of that, physical and mental. So, and I'm Joe Average as well. So if it happened for me, it happens for everybody else.
Yeah. Do you feel we're living in a time where actually we've almost got a kind of juxtaposition, because people are talking more about their mental health on the one hand, especially on social media? You'll see a lot of individuals opening up and talking about what they're going through and being really honest about it. And yet, on the other hand, we also live in a digital age. So we've perhaps lost a little bit of the communication with each other, which means that, we're not necessarily having the small talk conversations or even the deeper conversations with each other where we can open up. Yeah,
it's a really good point. And this is this is really relevant with COVID, of course, because I'm a big proponent of hybrid working. I think it does work well the vast majority of the times if implemented correctly from a project perspective. However, we were all forced to do it because of COVID really quickly, and people are still catching up. What we find is that I'm still finding people that are still adapting or haven't adapted to working at home, and they need to be in the office. They need to have that social connection. And then we've got the different generations, and we've got our stereotypes. So even, I'm not perfect. I thought the younger people, like my kids, would have no problem with having webcams on and talking freely. And of course, that's not the case at all. The younger generations, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, much more likely to want webcams off when it comes to the workplace. Completely different. I just stereotype the whole thing when actually it's split down. And then you have, of course, the Gen Z, Gen Alpha, much more likely to talk about their emotions and feelings and more in touch with emotions and feelings than me. What am I? Gen X. And people like me or older or younger than me, much more likely. And there we get horrible words and horrible role models using words like woke and snowflake, which of course is so detrimental to the conversation and the advancing of where we are, which is necessary to help us get that communication back, get that feeling of connection back, because we are absolutely social animals. We unless we're a psychopath or a sociopath, we need to be with each other.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was the generation where you were told to shut up and put up and get on with it, which was why it was so wonderful when, the Cure came out with Boys Don't Cry. And, you suddenly thought, wow, that resonates, doesn't it? Someone talking about men aren't meant to cry, but, we do. and we should as well. Yeah. There was a whole generation there, kind of discovery of, but I would say a lot of my generation still wouldn't actually talk about stuff. We would just kind of like living that through, these kind of pop heroes and whatever, going, yeah, that's brilliant. We should be more like that. But I don't think we ever really opened up enough. And now we're seeing a lot of, as you say, we're seeing a lot of younger generation of CEOs, etc., coming through, really sort of pushing the agenda of health and well-being for their teams, and really sort of making sure that that's the case. But they still need the mechanisms there within their businesses to enable that to happen. And I guess that's where you're coming in.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's two ways you can do this. You can be a trainer and you can go in and just do some training and make some money and disappear, or you can be a business and you can partner with a business for life and look after the training needs by looking at the outcomes that they need after doing your analysis, and do it in a nice phased approach, which is what we do. And then we sweep in with the mental health first aiders once we can have the conversations. And alongside that, we work with policies and procedures and making sure that it's future-proof, the company's future-proofed as much as possible. Health and safety exec, obviously, are really massively hot now on psychological safety, not just physical, but the psychological safety in the workplace. BSI, the British Standards Institute, have created a new psychological safety in the workplace ISO. So we used to go after investors in people, ISO, this, that, and the other, 13,001 or whatever it was. Now there's a new one for psychological safety in the workplace, because all of the professional bodies are recognizing how important the psychological aspect of the workplace is, not just the physiological aspect. The benefits are, they're so evident. You create a workplace where people want to be, or feel supported, or are happier, or give them a place to escape from real life and the problems that real life presents, then they'll turn up more. That's where they want to be. And that's the key behind it. Just feeling being made to feel psychologically safe.
Do you think there's a whole gamut of old school managers out there tearing their hair out, though, at the moment and thinking, you know, oh, each week it's a different thing. I've got to deal with mental health. I've got to deal with neurodiversity. I've got to deal with inclusion, diversity. I've got to, you know, it's almost like all of these different things coming at me. You know, once upon a time it was black and white health and safety. It was like, you know, don't play around with knives at work. You know, don't cut yourself on scissors. Don't slip. Don't put your back out. And that was easy. But now it's like, oh, all of these things. I mean, for me, I think it's about turning that from a kind of reactive approach to a proactive approach, and actually starting with what are the objectives of your business, what are the driving forces behind your business, and making this stuff the livable experience of everybody, and part and parcel of how you do business with your clients and everybody and all the other stakeholders. Otherwise, you're just going to look at it and go, yeah.
Absolutely. From the most commercial of aspects, it helps with tenders and bids and everything anyway, because everybody that wants you to be a customer are interested in this anyway. So even if you're just looking at it from a pounds, shillings and pence, it's going to help with the getting business. It's going to help with keeping more people in work. It's going to help with retention. But you're looking at it from a personal perspective. And you're absolutely right. And there's several generations of more male managers, because men have a problem, are the problem we're going through. Women are as well, but men are going through a massive transitional change that's massively impacting them, and we need to. Because we do still have, you know, lots of things like stress is a new bad back are still spoken about and given out there. Oh, but surely that's a cry for help. Surely that's a person just wanting attention. And whilst that may be a valid experience for that person, it may not be reality, and it's their experience, not the person that's going through something. And all it takes is one mistake, and we lose a person to maybe suicide. And how do you recover from that? And that's just something that massively impacts. And it's so ridiculously tough to pick yourself up from that. So it's not just about what's the new thing. Is it gender fluidity? Is it identification? Is it neurodiversity? All of these things absolutely need to be included to make a truly inclusive workplace. By doing that, the workplace benefits, and that's the beautiful thing about it. It's just that we managers, leaders have to get on board with that. And if you're not on board with it, you're already behind the curve, because it has happened, it is happening, and it's just gaining momentum more and more.
Well, it's what my what my business has been based on, and it's been my life interest in a way, which is, you know, I even went and did a degree in it, which is communications, because fundamentally I believe what we're learning to redo here is communicate. I think that's where we've gone wrong. We have lost the ability to communicate properly with each other, and we're somehow having to learn that back. And whether it's learning to, you know, just listen and understand each other a little bit more, or whether, you know, or what to say in a situation so that you don't, you know, upset somebody, or you help them rather than make them feel worse. All of those things are all lessons in communication. And as I say, I think because we've kind of grown up into this kind of digital age where that communication has been sort of fragmented and shattered in a way, into kind of, you know, digitalized sort of responses to each other. Then now we're trying to pull it back. I mean, look at email. Awful thing. But how many, and I've said this so many times on different broadcasts, but how many problems have happened over the years in a business because somebody has sent that email and they haven't thought one iota about how that's going to be received at the other end. They've just thought, what am I going to get out of this email? What what am I covering here? Have I covered my back? Have I managed to, absolve myself from all responsibility here? And then the person at the other end, that's ruined their day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's caused many conflicts and resulted in disciplinaries, people moving, jobs, teams, everything. Yeah. Communication is absolutely the key word. I think I completely agree with you, and it's interesting because there's more and more. The people I tend to associate with are obviously, as we have in life, the people that sort of we share similar views. So as a trainer, I want to surround myself with the best in the business, but in similar but different complementary fields. And there's a chap that I know, Win, Welsh chap, who's amazing, and he's a very finance for non-finance managers, emotional intelligence. So he presents lots of financial stuff. That's his real specialty. And he's come up with the course about commerce and about commercial operations and business. But he's built into it empathy. So it's literally called commercial empathy. So he, again, is right at the cutting edge. He's thinking differently, and he is positioned presently for the future. So his commercial empathy course, he's flying out to Saudi. He's flying out to different places right now, because it is of the moment, and it's right that it needs to be to until the point where it becomes normality, because it is going to become normality. But yeah, communication is the key word. Absolutely and utterly yes.
Oh, fantastic. Now, listen, we're going to talk a little bit before you go about how people can get hold of you and how, they can find out a bit more. But talk to me about Move. I mean, you're a Move member, but how did you come upon Move?
I think originally I was talking with Mark. I can't remember now, but I got introduced to Mark. It might have been through Move actually, or because of Move. And then me and Mark just started talking about potential doing stuff together and just spitballing ideas around. And then went into the Move networking and thought, well, it's significantly different to any other sort of networking things that I've been to. And it feels very warm, comfortable, but we're getting some business done, but it's about personal development. It's a real mixture of stuff, and I loved it. I loved the relationships that you built up. It was really social. We could have a laugh with it. I can't do like traffic lights type things in other networking organizations. That's not me. I got out of business. I started my own business to not look like that and not to do that.
It feels like rabbit in headlights, doesn't it?
I'm running my business. I don't want to run a business when I'm doing this sort of thing, which is helping people and they're helping me, which is how I look at it. And then the networking, of course, and I go net swimming before we network. So,
well done.
Yeah. So I do me and a couple of other guys, Chris, the two Chris's actually, usually turn up at West Kirby, and Richard as well is starting doing it again. So yeah, it's just a brilliant social thing. But every week we get to introduce different people to different opportunities. I get introduced to an opportunity. We learn something, and that's from the official Move stuff or the unofficial conversations that we have. And the format's great. It's an hour and a half meeting. Boom, we're done, and we get on with the rest of our time. We do the Wednesday 6:00 meeting in the evening, which is fantastic for me because it's a nice way just to switch off, but also get us through that midweek hump. So really look forward to it. Looking forward to tonight, actually. So I love the format. It works for me. I've got business through it. I'll always get business through it, and I give business through it. So I love it.
Yeah, no, same for me. I love the way that it's, as you say, I really rallied against a lot of networking events. I tried lots throughout the pandemic period. Having started a new business again, I went to lots. I actually ran a number of networking events myself as a kind of response to the fact that I was going to all of these things, and it was like pressure, and I really didn't like that. And I was putting things on where I was trying to bring in, thought leadership and trying to learn from people. And when I found Move, I was dubious, let's say that let's put it that way. I was dubious because I thought this is going to be yet another one of those things where, because we're on Zoom, etc., it's going to be, 15 seconds of pitch, then pushed into a room with somebody, and then sell, and then and it's like, oh no, headache, and you get nothing out of it. But no, as I say, a group of people that you can literally talk about either a personal thing in a safe space or a business thing, feel that you're giving value and receiving value all at the same time, which is absolutely great. And that's really what you're looking for as a business owner. So I'm pleased to do that. And the networking thing ties in nicely with the mental health thing.
Fabulous.
Right?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Yeah. But you're getting together, you've got the connection. So it's a virtual move to the real world. You're doing the physical exercise because the physical and mental are interconnected. So physical health lifts, mental health lifts. Then we go for a little bacon butty or something, or eggs Benedict or this afterwards. And you just have this extended chat. And so sometimes there's business done, loads of jokes, and just like, hey, how's it going? And that's a brilliant start to a Saturday or a Sunday. Fabulous.
Well, Sean, listen, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. What you're doing is invaluable work, and it's really important that businesses take this seriously and actually get involved. So where do people go if they want to find out more about mental health first aid training? What's the first step?
Right, brilliant stuff. So if you search my name, then you'll find me very easily. There's me, and there's usually two people. There's this face and the other face, which is a bare-chested MMA fighter, bald head, big beard. That's not me. So it's the other guy, me. So you can find me on page 1 of Google usually, or any social media, which is Sean Liddell or Mindful Training Ltd Limited. Mindful Training Ltd. And I'm on all the social media, apart from Snapchat. The kids have banned me from that. They said I'm too old. But apart from that, I'm on everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, he's on there under the name Cynthia. But apart from that, I can actually contest the fact that you are on any of those social channels. I've found you on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of the ones that we are now broadcasting to today. So please do find Sean, Mindful Training Limited, inquire, find out a little bit more. If your business isn't doing anything around mental health awareness, now's the opportunity to find out, get sorted for 2023. Sean, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thanks for coming on, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks a lot, Graham.
Until next time, this has been Move TV. We'll be back soon with more interviews. Bye for now.